Hello everybody, welcome back. If you're new here, I'm Sarah Jane Case, and today we're going to talk about my favorite low waist swaps. Low waist or like zero waist movement is something that's really important to me. It's an issue that I think should be important to all of us. We get this like one precious planet and the corporations don't seem to be helping us. So a lot of us were having to take it into our own hands, even though, I think that this is a big conversation. I think there's a lot that can be done on the corporate and the legal level that are going to get us a lot further, a lot faster, but why not do our part too? And as we go to explore, like, how do I contribute to the waste in the world? I want to make sure that I'm putting my best foot forward in terms of making actual change. This is an issue that I'm really passionate about, but I've actually found to be very difficult for me to do a full overhaul. It's just not something that I feel like I can just kind of go full zero waste. You see lots of amazing YouTubers who live like a zero waste lifestyle, and they cut out like everything that they have to throw away. They go to zero waste grocery stores and all of these types of things. And that's just not something that's super practical for me and my life. But I think this is a video I wanted to make specifically for that reason, because so often when we have like a thing we want to be doing or a thing we want to be contributing to, we think we have to be either all or nothing, right? Either I go full zero waste or like, why am I even trying? And instead, I think, like, how can I do 10% more than I was doing before? I would rather do a little bit less than do nothing at all. So that's kind of my approach to lowering the amount of waste that I'm creating in the world, is to just pick up a few habits here and there, implement them until they become our new normal, and then adding more in at that point. So I'm going to share with you things that we've done that are just kind of like our new normal now, and specific things that we use that have helped to make this process a little bit easier for us. Okay, so the first one is using things like glass jars or glass Tupperware for our storage. I used to wrap a lot of things in tinfoil, or I would wrap them in saran wrap, or I would use Ziploc baggies, and this is something that we try to minimize. I try to replace Ziplocs for the most part with either, we have these like stash bags, which are kind of pricey, honestly, and not that helpful. Like, we have a couple that came with our Grove subscription, which is something we'll talk about in a little bit. But mostly I think just like having a bunch of mason jars helps. We can just put the lid on, put it in the fridge. Glass storage jars are awesome. You can just put whatever your leftover is right in there, put it in the fridge, and we don't really have to use Ziplocs quite as often. Ziplocs are something that I really want to eliminate in our household in 2021, but I'm having to get my husband on board, and this is going to be one of the harder battles, I think. So until then, my deal is just kind of use as little as I can. My personal replacements are these glass jars, mason jars, or we have beeswax wrap, which is a really good replacement for tinfoil. And we have these stasher bags, as well as these kind of plastic lids that you can put on top of like bowls and jars and things like that, just instead of saran wrap. So we talked about this a little bit in the last point, but we have a subscription to Grove. Grove is this amazing company for your cleaning supplies, and they offer a lot of sustainable solutions. So one of the things that we do now is we have like the reusable jar for our like all-purpose cleaning spray, and then they just send us like a little recyclable glass jar with solution that you pour in and you mix with water, and then that's your cleaning supply for the next several months. This is awesome because it's automatically sent to you once a month. You just go in, you keep your cart up to date, and they'll automatically send you your cleaning supplies. They have eco-friendly toilet paper, they have eco-friendly trash bags, they have glass cleaning solution that you can use, they have eco-friendly kind of refillable soaps, things like that. So they're a really good option if you're looking for replacing some of your cleaning supplies in a more low waste way. Kind of keeping on that kitchen train, we replaced paper towels years and years ago. So this was a really hard one too. This was a hard sell for my husband, but we've ended up, it's just like our new normal now. We've quit buying paper towels and we just replaced them first with our napkins cloth napkins we had gotten for our wedding. We've replaced those now with washcloths, and we just keep a little basket in our kitchen where we put the dirty ones after we use them, Obi washes them like every couple of days, and then we keep them in a box and we just pull them out and use them when we need them, put them away. I haven't missed a paper towel in years. Literally, it's one of the easiest transitions we've made. The next one is our dish, brush, and soap. So we switched from using like sponges or cloths to using this like wooden scrubber. And in fact, actually, we were using a plastic scrubber before that we would have to replace the head of that scrubber like once a month or so. Sometimes probably should have been doing it more frequently. We replaced that with a wooden one that we can actually compost in our compost bin and a bar of soap instead of a plastic container. And it actually is like a more sensorily pleasurable experience because you're getting to kind of like it feels a lot more like connective, and it's not as like squirting dish soap onto a thing, and it's just a little bit nicer. Grove also has kind of wooden brushes that you can get where you can put your liquid soap and kind of push down and use it that way. Those are biodegradable as well. The next thing is reusable straws. This is like the big one, right? So we have glass straws and we have some stainless steel ones and some plastic ones that we keep in our drawer to use at home. One of my big objectives in 2021 was to keep a baggie of reusable straws in my car so that if I go through the coffee drive-through or something like that, I can at least not ask for a straw. I'm still getting the plastic cup because it is, disease time, but and you really just can't use reusable cups right now. But in the future, using reusable cups and reusable straws, best case scenario. I keep my water in this water bottle, and I have my own kind of reusable coffee cups that I use for coffee at home when I can. While we're talking about coffee, let's talk about Nespresso. So we have an espresso machine, we love it, we use the pods, and one of the things that they make so easy when it comes to keeping things kind of low waste is that they have a recycling program. So we just make sure that we're always doing our recycling program. We put all of our pods into a recycling bag, and we take it to the UPS store once a month, and they ship back, and then Nespresso reuses them and kind of reworks with them so that we're not just kind of throwing that into the landfill. I think that would be something that's kind of easy to do wrong. Like Nespresso makes it so easy to send those back, but we could kind of turn the other cheek and like not pay attention to it and throw them in the trash. But I feel so proud of the fact that like we're dedicated to recycling every single pod that goes through our home. The next thing is veggie broth. So this is kind of getting into the food waste territory. We work really hard to lower our food waste. It's something that we're constantly kind of on that journey to improve. One of the ways we do that is when we're cooking a meal, any kind of veggie scrap like onion peels, peppers, like if we peel an onion or a cucumber, those kind of things, all of that gets put into a bowl, which gets put into a bag in the freezer. And then whenever that bag is full, I boil us some homemade veggie broth. You just put all the scraps into a pot, you cover it with water, you boil it for about an hour, and then I pour each of those into ice trays and just freeze them up. And then you can keep them in your freezer as ice cubes, and every time you need broth, you're good to go. You have like this delicious, yummy homemade broth right there in your freezer. The next one for you I have is my menstrual routine. It's completely zero waste at this point. I use menstrual cup. That is like my absolute favorite thing that I use. It's changed my life in a million ways. Did a whole video just talking about that you can go check out. But I use that, and then I use Thinx underwear, or I'll have to put in the comments below the other brand that I use I actually like better than Thinx. I just can't remember. I think it's Joyja. I have two pairs. One pair that I use like on the day that I'm probably gonna start, but it's not started yet. So I just don't even have to worry about like, when's this gonna happen? I just wear those that day. Then I use a menstrual cup the other days. So the last day I just wear the Thinx underwear, and then I don't even have to really worry about anything. My period is completely zero waste. If you think about like not doing a zero waste period routine, there are so many hundreds of thousands of millions of tampons and pads that are just going into our landfills every single day. It's insane the amount of waste created by our menstrual cycle. But even beyond that, like those products are like, they suck to use. Like they smell bad, they're uncomfortable, everything about them is terrible. They're unhealthy for us, like they're bad for our bodies. Basically everything about them sucks for us and for the environment. So why not try something else? All right, the very last thing that I have for you today is I have a new lighter. So we used to get these like long stemmed lighters that were like plastic and had butane in them, and they died after a while, we'd have to replace them. That trash was going into the landfill. And this is a small thing, but it adds up over time, right? Over the course of my life, that's a lot of lighters that are going in the landfill. We have now this lighter that you can recharge and reuse. It doesn't require fuel. You don't have to throw it away. And it will likely last us like several years. And you just it creates a little spark and it lights your candle for you. It's amazing. So that's our final swap out that we do for just kind of creating a little bit less waste with our everyday life. Let me know in the comments below if you have like an area of your life where you're like, I love this way that we choose to not generate more waste, put more things into the landfill. I'd love to know below. And or if you have a little shift that you might make in your life to become a little bit less wasteful in the new year. All right, you guys, thank you so much for joining me, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.